Biker found a lost baby on highway. What he did next went viral. A lost baby on the highway and a biker who refused to look away. What he did next will shock you. Marcus Lane had been riding for 6 hours straight when he saw it. A small bundle on the shoulder of Interstate 40 just past the Nevada state line. At first, he thought it was trash. Maybe a bag someone threw from their window. But something made him slow down. Something felt wrong. He pulled over, his Harley rumbling to a stop, 50 feet past the object. The desert heat hit him like a wall and he took off his helmet. It was almost 4 p.m., the sun, still brutal overhead. Marcus walked back, his boots crunching on gravel. Then he heard it, a cry, weak, but definitely human. His blood ran cold. The bundle moved. Marcus broke into a run. It was a baby, a real baby, maybe 6 months old, wrapped in a dirty pink blanket. The infant's face was red from crying and exposure to the sun. Her lips looked dry. Marcus dropped his knees, his hands shaking as he carefully picked her up. Before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Hey, it's okay, Marcus whispered, though his heart was hammering. I got you, you're safe now. The baby whimpered against his chest. She felt hot, too hot. Marcus looked around wildly. There were no cars in sight, no buildings, nothing but empty highway and desert scrub for miles. How long had she been here? Who would do this? His phone. He needed to call 911. Marcus fumbled for his cell with one hand while holding the baby with the other. No signal. Of course there was no signal out here. He needed water. The baby needed water, immediately. Marcus carried her back to his bike, moving as fast as he dared. He had a bottle in his saddlebag. His mind raced through what little he knew made babies. Could you give a baby regular water? Was that safe? He didn't have a choice. Marcus wet his fingers and gently moistened the baby's lips. She latched onto his finger immediately, sucking desperately. His throat tightened. How scared must she have been? How long had she been crying before he came along? We're getting out of here, he told her. I'm going to find help. But as Marcus looked down the empty highway, a terrible question formed in his mind. What if whoever left her here was still watching? Marcus held the baby close as he tried to think clearly. She had stopped crying, but was making small, distressed sounds. He checked her over carefully. No visible injuries, but her diaper was soaked, and she smelled like she hadn't been changed in hours. Maybe longer. This wasn't an accident. Someone deliberately left this child here. The thought made him sick. He needed to move. The nearest town was Goldfield, about 20 miles back. Marcus had passed through it earlier. It was small, barely more than a few buildings. But it had people. It had a phone. It had help. But could he ride with a baby? He'd never carried a passenger this small. It wasn't safe. But what choice did he have? Staying here while she got more dehydrated wasn't enough either. Marcus made a decision. He unzipped his leather jacket and carefully tucked the baby inside against his chest, zipping it back up enough to hold her secure but not restrict her breathing. She settled against him, her small hand gripping his shirt. The position wasn't ideal, but it would have to work. Just hold on, little one, he murmured. 20 miles. We can do 20 miles. He started his bike and began the ride back, going slower than he'd ever gone on a highway. Every bump made him wince. Every slight lean made his heart race. The baby stayed quiet, which worried him more than crying would have. Was that a bad sign? 15 minutes into the ride, Marcus saw something in his rearview mirror. A black SUV was coming up fast behind him. Too fast. Way over the speed limit. It wasn't slowing down. Marcus tensed. Was this them? The people who left the baby? The SUV came up beside him, matching his speed. Marcus couldn't see through the tinted windows. His pulse pounded in his ears. Should he speed up? He had a baby against his chest. He couldn't take risks. Then the SUV accelerated and shot past him, disappearing down the highway. Marcus released a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. Paranoid. He was being paranoid. Still, he kept checking his mirror's moment until he saw the first signs of Goldfield ahead. The town looked different now. What had seemed like a forgettable desert stop now looked like salvation. Marcus pulled into the first gas station he saw and practically ran inside, the baby still bundled against him. Call 911, he shouted to the teenager behind the counter. Now. The clerk, a kid who couldn't have been more than 17, stared at Marcus with wide eyes. Then his gaze dropped to the movement inside Marcus's jacket and his mouth fell open. Is that a baby? Call 911. Marcus repeated, his voice sharp. She's dehydrated. She needs help. The kid grabbed the phone with shaking hands. Within minutes, the small store was chaos. The clerk's manager came running from the back. 2 customers crowded around. Everyone was asking questions at once. Where did he find her? Was she okay? Who did she belong to? Marcus ignored them all. He gently removed the baby from his jacket and asked for water. The manager, a woman in her 50s named Carol, took one look at the infant and immediately went into action. Someone get the first aid kit, she ordered, and grab those baby wipes from aisle 3. You, she pointed at the teenager, make sure that ambulance is coming. Carol wet some paper towels and carefully wiped the baby's face and arms. Poor little angel, she murmured. How long was she out there? I don't know, Marcus said. His arms felt empty without the baby, but Carol seemed to know what she was doing. I found her on the highway, about 20 miles east, just lying there in a blanket. Someone left her? Carol's face hardened. What kind of monster? The ambulance arrived 12 minutes later, followed closely by a sheriff's deputy. The paramedics immediately took over, checking the baby's vital signs and starting her on fluids. Marcus found himself pulled aside by the deputy, a lean man in his 40s with weathered skin and suspicious eyes. I'm Deputy Kern, he said, pulling out a notepad. Tell me exactly what happened. Marcus explained everything. The ride, spotting the bundle, realizing it was a baby, bringing her here. Kern wrote it all down, his expression giving nothing away. And you didn't see anyone else on the road? No other vehicles? Marcus hesitated, remembering the black SUV. There was one SUV that passed me on the way back. Black, tinted windows, but it just kept going. Make and model?
I don't know. Maybe a Toyota?
I wasn't really focused on that. I was trying to keep the baby safe. Kern nodded slowly. Where were you coming from, Mr. Lane? The question caught Marcus off guard. California. I was heading to New Mexico to visit my brother. Why? Just trying to understand the full picture. Kern's eyes were steady on him. You said you were 6 hours into your ride. That would put you leaving California around 10 this morning? Yeah, about that. What does that have to do with? And you ride alone? No one traveling with you? Marcus felt a chill that had nothing to do with the air conditioning. Are you asking if I had a baby with me? I'm just asking questions, Mr. Lane. I found her. I saved her. I brought her here for help. Marcus's voice rose. You should be out looking for whoever dumped her, not interrogating me. Carol stepped between them. Deputy Kern, this man just saved a baby's life. Maybe ease up? Kern didn't look away from Marcus. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but this is an investigation now. We need to understand everything. His radio crackled. Excuse me. He stepped outside to answer it. Marcus watched through the window as Kern's expression changed. The deputy's hand went to his weapon. He said something sharp into the radio, then turned to stare at Marcus through the glass. Something was very wrong. Kern came back inside with his hand still on his holster. Behind him, Marcus could see a second patrol car pulling up. Mr. Lane, I need you to stay right here, Kern said, his voice suddenly formal. Don't go anywhere. What's happening? Marcus demanded. What's going on? We just got a call. There's been a report of a missing child. Marcus felt relief wash over him. That's good, right? That means we know who she belongs to. The baby went missing 3 days ago, Kern cut him off, from a home in Las Vegas. And the mother claims her boyfriend took the child. The words hung in the air. 3 days. The baby had been out there for 3 days? That didn't make sense. She'd be dead. Unless the mother saw your picture, Kern continued. Someone in here already posted about this on Facebook. The post is going viral, and she says the man in the photo looks like the boyfriend. Marcus's stomach dropped. That's not possible. I've never been to Las Vegas. I don't know these people. Then you won't mind coming to the station to sort this out. I'm not under arrest. Not yet, but we need to clear this up. The FBI is already involved because the child crossed state lines. This was becoming a nightmare. Marcus had done the right thing, and now he was being treated like a criminal. But he forced himself to stay calm. He had nothing to hide. They did this out. Fine, he said, but I want a lawyer present. Kern nodded. That's your right. They drove to the small sheriff's station in the center of town. Marcus's bike was left at the gas station. He was put in an interview room that smelled like stale coffee and sweat. The walls were beige. There was a camera in the corner. He'd seen enough TV to know how this worked. An hour passed, then 2. Marcus asked for water and got it, asked for his phone and was told it was being examined. Finally, a woman in a dark suit entered the room. She had short gray hair and looked like she'd seen everything twice. "Mr. Lane, I'm Special Agent Ramirez with the FBI," she said, sitting across from him. "Let's talk." She placed a photo on the table. It showed a man with a beard and long dark hair, wearing a leather jacket similar to Marcus's. The man looked nothing like him except for the general description. White male, 30s, facial hair, motorcycle rider. "Is this you?" Ramirez asked. "No," I told the deputy. The mother identified this man as Ryan Calloway, her ex-boyfriend. He has a history of domestic violence and drug abuse. 3 days ago, he took their daughter during a supervised visit and disappeared. "Do you know Ryan Calloway?" "No, I've never seen him before." "But you admit you look similar." "Only if you're not paying attention. That guy has a tattoo on his neck. I don't have any neck tattoos. His eyes are blue. Mine are brown. This is crazy." Ramirez studied him for a long moment. "Your story is that you just happened to find this baby on the highway." "Because I did. 20 miles from where you picked her up, there's a rest stop. Security cameras caught footage of a man matching your description, or Ryan Calloway's description, stopping there this morning around 11. He had what looked like a baby carrier. Marcus's blood ran cold. It wasn't me. Check the timestamps. Where was I at 11? You tell me." "I would have been," Marcus tried to remember. "I stopped for gas around 10:30 in Amargosa Valley. There'd be security footage there too. Credit card receipts, something." Ramirez made a note. "We're checking. But here's my problem, Mr. Lane. The timeline works, the location works, you have the baby, and you can't prove you're not Ryan Calloway." "Can't prove?" Marcus was incredulous. "Take my fingerprints, check my ID. I have a driver's license, credit cards, insurance, all of which could be fake if you were running. This couldn't be happening." Marcus had stopped to help. He'd saved that baby's life. And now he was sitting in an interrogation room being accused of kidnapping her. "I want my lawyer," he said firmly. "I'm not saying anything else without a lawyer." Ramirez nodded slowly. "That's your right. But Mr. Lane, if you are Ryan Calloway, and you did take that baby, coming clean now will be better for you than dragging this out. The baby is safe. That's what matters. You can end this." "I'm not Ryan Calloway," Marcus said through gritted teeth. "And I'm done talking." He leaned back and crossed his arms, his mind racing. Someone out there had abandoned that baby, and now that person was walking free while Marcus sat in this room. Something about this whole situation felt wrong. The timeline didn't add up. Why would someone keep a baby for 3 days and then leave her on the highway in the middle of nowhere? Unless it wasn't the boyfriend at all. Unless someone else had taken that child. They let Marcus sit alone for another hour. His mind wouldn't stop working, turning over every detail. The baby on the highway. The mother's claim. The man at the rest stop. None of it fit together properly. When the door finally opened again, it wasn't Ramirez, it was Deputy Kern, and his expression had changed. "You're free to go," he said simply. Marcus blinked. "What?" "We verified your alibi. The gas station footage from Amargosa Valley shows you there at 10:45, exactly when you said. The man at the rest stop was there at 11:10. No way you could have made that drive in 25 minutes. It's physically impossible." Relief flooded through Marcus, followed immediately by anger. "So you people just accused me of kidnapping for nothing?" Kern had the decency to look uncomfortable. "We had to check. You understand that, right? A missing child. A man who fits the description." "I don't fit the description. I told you that. From a distance, in the right clothes." Kern shook his head. "Look, I'm sorry, but we had to be sure. You did the right thing today, Mr. Lane. That baby is going to be okay because of you." "What about the real kidnapper? Are you looking for him?" "The FBI is handling it now. They're reviewing all the security footage from up and down the highway, checking for the boyfriend's truck. We'll find him." But as Marcus collected his belongings and headed back to get his bike, a question nagged at him. If Ryan Calloway had the baby for 3 days, why abandon her now? Why not before? And why in such a remote location? The gas station was busier than before when Marcus arrived. Carol waved him over immediately. I saw the Facebook posts, she said. People are calling you a hero. I'm not a hero. I just did what anyone would do. Not anyone. She handed him his helmet. Most people would have driven past, thought it was trash, like you said. You stopped. You saved her. Marcus didn't feel like a hero. He felt exhausted and frustrated. Did the paramedics say anything? About how she was? How long she'd been out there? Carol's expression darkened. They said she was surprisingly okay. Dehydrated. Yes. Sunburned. But not as bad as she should have been if she'd been exposed for hours. They estimated maybe 2 hours maximum. 2 hours, not 3 days. Marcus's mind raced. What are you thinking? Carol asked, watching his face. I'm thinking something doesn't add up. The mother says the boyfriend took the baby 3 days ago, but that baby wasn't out there for 3 days. She wasn't even out there for half a day. So where was she? And who had her? That was the question. Marcus pulled out his phone. Against his better judgment, he opened Facebook. The post Carol mentioned wasn't hard to find. Someone had filmed him bringing the baby into the store. The TV had been shared thousands of times already. The comments were overwhelming. People calling him a hero, praising him, asking for updates on the baby. But one comment caught his eye. It was from someone named Jennifer Martinez. This is my baby. Thank God you found her. But that's not Ryan. Ryan has tattoos all over his arms. This is someone else. Who has my baby? Marcus read it 3 times. The mother herself was saying this wasn't the right man. So the FBI's theory was wrong. Which meant the boyfriend wasn't the one who left the baby on the highway. Someone else had done this. Someone who wanted everyone to think it was Ryan Calloway. His phone rang. Unknown number. Marcus hesitated, then answered. Mr. Lane? A woman's voice, urgent and scared. This is Jennifer Martinez. The mother. Please, I need to talk to you. The police won't listen. Something's wrong. This isn't what they think it is. Mrs. Martinez. It's Miss and please, call me Jen. I saw the video. I saw you save my daughter. You're the only one who might believe me. Marcus glanced at Carol, who was watching with concern. He stepped outside for privacy. I don't understand. The FBI said your boyfriend took your daughter. I know what I told them. I panicked. I was scared, but I was wrong. Her voice cracked. Ryan didn't take Emma. I know he didn't. He's been in rehab in Arizona for the past month. I can prove it. I have documents. But the police won't listen, because I originally blamed him. They think I'm just protecting him now. Marcus's grip tightened on the phone. Then who took her? I think. Jen took a shaky breath. I think it was my sister. Marcus sat on the curb outside the gas station, trying to process what Jen was telling him. The afternoon sun was starting to dip lower, casting long shadows across the parking lot. Your sister, he repeated. Why would your sister take Emma? Because she wants a baby and can't have one. Jen's words came out in a rush, like she'd been holding them back too long. Sarah's been trying for years. IVF. Everything. Nothing worked. And she kept saying how lucky I was, how I didn't appreciate what I had. We fought about it constantly. That's a big leap from being jealous to kidnapping. I know how it sounds, but 3 days ago, Emma was napping. I went to shower just 15 minutes. When I came out, Emma was gone. The window was open. Sarah has a key to my place. She was supposed to come by that afternoon anyway. Did you tell the police this? They said without evidence. I was just throwing accusations around. Sarah's married to a lawyer. They live in a nice house in Henderson. Everyone loves her. I'm the single mom with the drug addict, ex-boyfriend. Who do you think they believed? Marcus rubbed his face. This was beyond his pay grade. He'd just wanted to ride to New Mexico, visit his brother, maybe clear his head for a few days. Now he was neck deep in a kidnapping case with layers he didn't understand. Why are you calling me? He asked. What do you think I can do? Because you found her. You know where she was. The police are looking for Ryan's truck heading east, but Sarah drives a black SUV. Was there any? Did you see anything like that on the highway? Marcus froze. The black SUV that had passed him. The one with tinted windows that had been going way too fast. Ms. Martinez. Jen, please. Jen, when I was bringing Emma to town, a black SUV passed me. It was speeding. I couldn't see the driver. Silence on the other end. Then, that was her. It had to be. She dumped Emma and was running. Oh God. You don't know that for sure. I know my sister. She's been unstable. Her husband was talking about divorce. She was desperate, and now, Jen's voice broke. Where's my baby now? Is she okay? The paramedics took her to the hospital. They said she'd be fine, dehydrated and sunburned, but she'll recover. I need to get there. I'm in Las Vegas. That's 3 hours away. Jen was crying now. Please, Mr. Lane. Marcus. Please watch over her until I get there. I don't trust anyone else. What if Sarah comes back? The hospital has security. Please. Something in her voice got to him. Maybe it was because he'd held that baby against his chest, felt her tiny hand grip his shirt. Maybe it was because his own sister had kids, and he'd die before letting anything happen to them. Or maybe it was because the alternative, believing this woman was a liar and her sister was innocent, felt wrong in his gut. Okay, he said. I'll go to the hospital. But Jen, if you're lying to me. I'm not. I swear I'm not. Thank you so much. She gave him the hospital name and hung up. Marcus stared at his phone for a long moment. He should walk away. He should get on his bike and continue to New Mexico like he'd planned. This isn't his problem. But that baby had been left on a highway to die. And if there was even a chance that the person who did it was still out there, still thought they could get away with it. Marcus went back inside and explained to Carol what was happening. Her eyes widened. You really think the sister did this? I don't know what to think. But something's not right about any of this. The FBI has tunnel vision on the boyfriend. They're not looking at other options. The hospital's 20 minutes from here. In Tonopah. Carol wrote down the address. You want company? I get off in an hour. Marcus was surprised by the offer. You don't have to. That little girl got lucky when you came along. Let's make sure her luck holds. Carol smiled grimly. Besides, I've got 4 grandkids. I know how to spot when someone's lying about family stuff. They arrived at the hospital as the sun was setting. It was a small facility, nothing like the big city hospitals Marcus had seen. A nurse at the desk directed them to the pediatric ward, which was really 3 rooms at the end of a hall. Emma was in the first room. She was sleeping in a hospital crib, an IV in her tiny arm, looking impossibly small and fragile. A different nurse was checking her vitals. Are you family? The nurse asked when she saw them. Marcus explained who he was. The nurse's face lit up. You're the one who found her. Everyone's been talking about it. You saved her life. How is she? Much better. We got fluids in her, treated the sunburn. She'll be fine. Tough little thing. The nurse adjusted Emma's blanket. The police said her mother is on the way. Should be here in a few hours. They sat in chairs by the window. Carol pulled up the Facebook post again, scrolling through new comments. This is up to 50,000 shares now. Look at this. News stations are picking it up. You're going viral. Marcus didn't care about that. He was watching the door, thinking about black SUVs and desperate sisters and how quickly you could go from hero to suspect and back again. If Jen was telling the truth, then Sarah had 3 days with Emma. 3 days to second-guess her decision. 3 days to realize she couldn't keep a kidnapped baby. So she dumped her on a highway and hoped someone would find her. Hoped it would look like Ryan Calloway's doing. And it almost worked. But there was still something that bothered Marcus. Something about the timing. About that SUV passing him. Carol, he said slowly, if Sarah left Emma on the highway, why was she still there? Why pass me going the other direction instead of heading home? Carol looked up from her phone. Maybe she wanted to make sure someone found the baby. Or maybe, Marcus stood up. Maybe she wasn't done. Maybe she was following me to see what I'd do. Why would that matter? Because if I'd just kept riding, if I hadn't stopped. Marcus paced. Then what? She'd know Emma might die. She'd have to go back. But I did stop. I found Emma. So Sarah could drive away clean, knowing the baby would be okay. That's either really caring or really psychotic, Carol muttered. Maybe both. The door opened, but it wasn't a nurse. It was Agent Ramirez, and she didn't look happy. Mr. Lane, we need to talk, now. Ramirez led Marcus to a small consultation room down the hall. Carol tried to follow, but Ramirez blocked her. Just Mr. Lane. Inside, Ramirez closed the door and turned to face him. I'm going to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Have you been in contact with Jennifer Martinez? Marcus had 2 choices. Lie and possibly make things worse, or tell the truth and hope Ramirez actually listened. She called me about an hour ago. And you didn't think to inform law enforcement. She told me things that didn't match your investigation. I wanted to check them out first. Ramirez's jaw tightened. Mr. Lane, you're a civilian. This is an FBI investigation. You don't get to check things out. What did she tell you? That her boyfriend didn't take the baby. That he's been in rehab in Arizona. And that she thinks her sister Sarah did it. To his surprise, Ramirez didn't immediately dismiss this. Instead, she sat down heavily in one of the chairs. What else? That's it. She asked me to watch over Emma until she got here. That's why I'm at the hospital. Nothing else? She didn't mention where Sarah might be. No. Why? Marcus studied Ramirez's face. You know something? Ramirez was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, Sarah Brennan, Jen's sister, she's missing. Her husband reported it this morning. Said she'd been gone for 3 days. He thought she went to stay with her mother, but when he called to check, the mother hadn't seen her. 3 days, the same time Emma was taken. We didn't make the connection until you were cleared and we started looking at other angles. Jen's initial story about Ryan fell apart fast once we actually tried to locate him. Rehab confirmed he's been there for 4 weeks, hasn't left the facility. Ramirez rubbed her temples. We sent officers to Sarah's house an hour ago. Her SUV is in the garage, black Toyota Highlander. But Sarah's gone. Marcus felt cold. If her car's at home, then how did she? We're checking rental agencies now, but Mr. Lane, here's where it gets complicated. Sarah's husband, Dennis Brennan, is a prominent attorney. He's already called our office 3 times insisting his wife is innocent, that she would never hurt a child. He's threatening lawsuits if we harass her without evidence. The evidence is that his wife went missing the same time Emma was taken, and now Emma turns up abandoned on a highway. That's circumstantial. We need more. We need witnesses, proof she was in the area, something concrete. Ramirez leaned forward. That's where you come in. The black SUV you saw, could you identify it again? Was there anything distinctive about it? Marcus thought back. He'd been focused on keeping Emma safe, not on memorizing vehicle details. It had tinted windows. I couldn't see the driver, but he closed his eyes, trying to remember. There was a sticker on the back window. Left side. I only caught a glimpse when it passed me. Something red and white. A bumper sticker. No, smaller, like a parking permit maybe. Marcus opened his eyes. That's all I remember. Ramirez made notes rapidly. That's helpful. Sarah works at a private school in Henderson. They use parking permits. She stood. Mr. Lane, I need you to stay available. We may need you to testify about what you saw. What about Emma? Is she safe here? We have an officer outside her room now, and Miss Martinez should arrive within the hour. Ramirez paused at the door. You did good today. But please, no more investigating on your own. Let us do our jobs. After she left, Marcus returned to Emma's room. Carol looked up expectantly. Well? He filled her in quietly. Carol's expression grew darker with each detail. That poor woman, both of them. Jen must be going crazy not knowing where her baby was. And Sarah, she shook her head. Mental health is no joke. Wanting something so badly you'd break the law, that's desperation. That's kidnapping, Marcus countered. She could have killed Emma, but she didn't. She left her where someone would find her. Carol looked at the sleeping baby. I'm not excusing what she did. I'm just saying people do terrible things when they're in pain. Marcus didn't have an answer to that. He'd never wanted kids himself, couldn't imagine that kind of desperation. But he'd seen pain before. He'd seen what it could do to people, how it could twist them into shapes they never thought they'd become. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I'm 10 minutes away. Is Emma okay? Please tell me she's okay. Jen, Marcus replied. She's sleeping. IV fluids. They say she'll be fine. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, thank you for everything. Marcus pocketed his phone and looked at Emma again. In sleep, she looked peaceful. No idea what had happened to her, what her aunt had done. Maybe that was a blessing. Maybe she'd never remember any of this. But Jen would remember, and Sarah would remember, and this family would never be the same. The door burst open. A woman rushed in, dark hair wild, eyes red from crying. She moved straight to the crib, her hands shaking as she reached for Emma. Baby, she whispered. Oh baby, Mommy's here now. Emma stirred, opening her eyes. For a moment, she just stared at her mother. Then recognition hit, and she started crying, Not the desperate wails from the highway, but the sound of a child who she was finally safe. Jen picked her up carefully, mindful of the IV, and held her close. She was crying too, saying things Marcus couldn't hear. Private things, mother things. Marcus stood to leave, to give them privacy. But Jen looked up, tears streaming down her face. "Wait," she said. "Please, I need to." She couldn't finish, just held out one hand toward him. Marcus didn't know what to say. What do you tell a mother whose sister stole her baby? How do you comfort someone going through that kind of betrayal? "She's tough," he said finally. "Emma, she's a fighter." Jen nodded, holding her daughter tighter. "Like her mom." Outside in the hallway, Carol patted Marcus's shoulder. "You should get going. Your brother's probably wondering where you are." Marcus had completely forgotten about New Mexico, about his original plans. He checked his phone. 4 missed calls from his brother Tom. He'd have to call him back, explain why he was 12 hours late. But as he started to dial, his phone rang again. Agent Ramirez. "We found her," she said without preamble. "Sarah Brennan. She's at a motel in Beatty, about 40 miles from where you found Emma. Local police are moving in now." "Is she?" "We don't know yet. Her husband insists she's having a mental health crisis, that she needs treatment, not arrest. He might be right, but that's not for us to decide. She took a child, Mr. Lane. Whatever her reasons, that's a crime." After the call ended, Marcus sat in his truck in the hospital parking lot for a long time. The desert sky was full of stars now, cold and distant. He thought about choices and consequences, about how one decision could change everything. If he hadn't stopped on that highway, if he'd thought it was just trash and kept riding, Emma would be dead. Sarah would be a murderer instead of a kidnapper. Jen would have lost everything. But he had stopped, and maybe that was all anyone could do, stop when something felt wrong. Pay attention. Give a damn. His phone buzzed. "Tom, dude, are you alive? Call me." Marcus smiled despite everything, and started the truck. He had a story to tell his brother. One hell of a story. Marcus made it to New Mexico 2 days later than planned. By then the story had exploded beyond anything he'd imagined. The video of him carrying Emma into the gas station had been viewed millions of times. News outlets from across the country had picked it up. His phone hadn't stopped ringing with interview requests. He ignored most of them. This wasn't about him. Tom's house was in Albuquerque, a small place with a yard full of toys belonging to Tom's 2 kids. When Marcus pulled up, his brother came out immediately, pulling him into a hug. "You're famous," Tom said. "My kids have been showing everyone at school that their uncle is a hero." "I'm not." Yeah, just a guy on a bike." "I know." Tom grinned. "Come inside. Lisa made enough food to feed an army. She's been cooking since the news broke." Over dinner, Marcus told them everything. The parts that hadn't made the news. The interrogation, the suspicion, the phone call from Jen. The moment he realized Sarah might still be watching. "That's terrifying," Lisa said, clutching her wine glass. "Knowing the person who abandoned that baby was right there."